IONQ is a really cool quantum computing company with a proven track record of innovation and deployment in the next generation of computing through its offering of the world's most powerful trapped ion quantum computer. So while we're definitely far from the initial highs that we saw with this stock back in November, I still believe that IONQ has the potential to be trading at $100 a share in the future. So if you're interested in this investment and want to stay up to date with IONQ, check out my other videos on this stock and maybe subscribe, as I don't really see a lot of other YouTubers covering this stock. So I'll always be sure to keep you guys up to date on everything that IONQ is doing. So with that, let's get into the update. Duke University and IONQ developed new quantum computing gate, only possible on IONQ and Duke systems. So on September 10th, both the Duke Quantum Center at Duke University and IONQ announced the invention of a new quantum computing operation with the potential to accelerate lots of key quantum computing techniques and contribute to scaling their quantum algorithms. And this new quantum gate is a novel way to operate on many connected qubits at once, as well as leverage the multi-qubit communication bus available only on IONQ and Duke quantum computers. And listen, I know all this quantum physics stuff can get pretty complicated really fast, and I myself don't fully understand it all. But if you're curious as to what a quantum gate is, I took some time to look into it a bit so I can try and explain it better to you guys. So essentially, in quantum computing, a quantum gate, not to be confused with the 1993 video game Quantum Gate, is a basic quantum circuit operating on a small number of qubits. And you can think of these as the building blocks of quantum circuits, in the same way that classical logic gates are for conventional digital circuits you find on normal computers. So I'm going to do my best with an analogy here, but essentially, traditional computers you can kind of think of like microscopic cities. The roads of these cities are wires with electricity coursing through them. These roads have lots of gates, also known as logic gates, which enable computers to actually do their job. And like physical gates that allow or block cars on the road, logic gates allow or block electricity. And the electricity that goes through these gates represents a 1 of digital data, and blocked electricity as a 0. However, in a quantum logic gate, energy levels in an individual ion are controlled so that a lower energy state represents a 0, which is a false value, and a higher energy state represents a 1, which is a true value, where the ion's internal energy is the qubit itself. So I know that was kind of in depth, but I think if you're investing into the quantum computing industry, I think it's pretty cool to understand this kind of stuff, at least to some degree. But overall, all you need to understand is that by arranging gates in a circuit, engineers can create something akin to a flowchart that enables computers to carry out vast amounts of logical operations, like mathematical calculations, at insane speeds. And the new gate family in IONQ's technology includes what's called the n-qubit Toffoli gate, which flips a selected qubit if and only if all the other qubits are in a particular state. And unlike 2-qubit quantum computing gates, IONQ's gate acts on many qubits at once, which of course leads to more efficient operations. And the discovery of this technology from both IONQ and Duke University is significant in the sense that this may lead to substantial efficiency gains in solving fundamental quantum algorithms, such as complex search algorithms, and even down to basic arithmetic operations like addition and multiplication, which of course can be applied to anything you could probably imagine. And it's these use cases that are ubiquitous across quantum computing applications and are a core to IONQ's work in quantum chemistry, quantum finance, and machine learning. And on top of all that, they are also key components of accepted industry benchmarks for quantum computers, which have already shown IONQ's computers to be clear industry leaders. And Peter Chapman, the CEO of IONQ, noted, "This discovery is an example of us continuing to build on the leading technical architecture we've established. It adds to the unique and powerful capabilities we are developing for quantum computing applications." And the cool thing here is that this research, conducted by Dr. Orkatz and an IonQ co-founder, Christopher Monroe, will be integrated into IonQ's quantum computing operations system for general public use. Monroe even mentioned that, and I quote, "No other available quantum computing architectures, not even other ion-based quantum computers, are able to utilize this family of n-qubit gates. This is because IonQ's quantum computers uniquely feature full connectivity and a wide communication bus that allows for all qubits to talk to each other simultaneously." So if we think about the breakthrough discoveries that IonQ has made, and exactly why they've become leaders in this space, we can look at December of 2021, where IonQ announced that it plans to use barium ions as qubits in its system, bringing what they believe to be a huge advantage that enables more robust quantum computing architectures. And if we look at last year, the team also debuted the industry's first reconfigurable multi-core quantum architecture and evaporated glass trap technology, both of which are expected to contribute to scaling the number of qubits in IonQ's quantum computers. And I know a big concern for a lot of people when it comes to investing in IonQ is their competition. And with companies like Google, Microsoft, and IBM all in the works of developing their own quantum computing systems, I think this is a reasonable argument. However, what I love about IonQ is that they're actually partnering with a lot of these tech giants to offer their hardware via the cloud through services like Google, Amazon, and Microsoft. Okay, so I'd also like to touch on the finances of IonQ just for a bit. So on top of all these larger companies that IonQ is working with, for a smaller sized company, they actually have a pretty solid balance sheet with very little debt and liabilities compared to the amount of cash and assets that they're holding. However, while their balance sheet is looking good, I also think it's important to call out here that their income statement could use some work. They are currently not a profitable company, only earning $223,000 in total revenue for the third quarter of 2021, with a net loss of nearly $15 million. However, I don't think these numbers should deter anyone from investing in this company if, at the end of the day, you agree with their business model and see quantum computing as the future. Because if you believe that quantum computing is here to stay, then I think it's reasonable to assume that companies like IonQ will stand to benefit long term, despite the fact that they aren't a profitable company at the moment. But regardless, even though you definitely shouldn't be listening to me for financial advice of any kind, I personally consider this stock a buy if you're long-term bullish on quantum computing. It's kind of a no-brainer to me. However, if you're not bullish on quantum computing, then I say f it and just buy an index fund or something safe that can give you a steady 7% annual return. However, I don't know about you guys, but I'm after those juicy 1000% gains, and you have to take some risks when you're looking for those kind of returns. And I think that IonQ is perfectly positioning themselves to be a very strong leader in this space. And that'll wrap up the video for today. Thanks as always, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.